hospitality tickets to Arsenal versus Chelsea worth over £1,500 is finally here.
AFTV is teaming up with Raffle, the marketplace for luxury raffles, to give one lucky winner these tickets.
We're talking free food, drinks, great seats, and a day at the Emirates that you'll never forget.
And with only 250 tickets available, your chances of winning are seriously high. Plus, guys, a percentage of every ticket sold goes to a charity to help fight childhood cancer.
It's completely transparent and the checkout is easy. It takes less than 1 minute and you can even use Apple Pay.
So hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to enter a raffle with Raffle.
The competition is UK only and the winner will be announced live on YouTube and Instagram, so grab your tickets right now.
Good luck!
Hi everyone and welcome to AFTV Daily Live. Joining me on the show today, none other than my friend and broadcaster.
Let's go!
Jordan Jarrett Bryan, Mr. JJB in the building.
Let's go, baby.
To have him here. Right, so the subject of today's show, what we're going to be talking about is what does success mean for Arsenal now? What represents success for Arsenal? And just by way of a little backdrop, we all know, I mean, Jordan was been telling me from months ago, or weeks ago, that the title was...
No, months. It was months.
Oh, it was months, yeah.
But we'll get there,
Fair play to you. You've been saying for a while that the title's gone, and I was, being my optimistic self, saying, no, man, we're still in it. We're still fighting for it. But come Saturday against West Ham, last Saturday against West Ham, I think everybody who watched that game, by the end of it, we all knew what it meant. That Arsenal's title aspirations for this year has totally evaporated. Arsenal currently, as we speak, 13 points behind Liverpool. There's absolutely no chance Arsenal are going to win a title, barring the most dramatic implosions and capitulations of all time. Simply not going to happen. However, there are still 11 games left at the time of speaking, 33 points up for grabs. There's also 2 Champions League games left. So we now start the question, what does success mean for Arsenal? What does that success look like now? Jordan, over to you, my friend. Tell the people.
Well, good evening, everybody, first of all. Just seeing the title, what are you just saying there about our chances of success? I mean, I know you're a boxing head, but just watching the press conference between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, and there's probably more chance of them two going out for Nando's tomorrow than Arsenal winning this title this year. So you're being very generous with your intro there, but we live in hope. I mean, first of all, I don't people, a lot of friends of mine and people in the AFTV community seem to think I take some kind of joy out of Arsenal not being the champions. It's like I pay a lot of money to see Arsenal play football. Do you know what I mean? I love this team. I've waited, was it 21, 22 years for us to be Premier League champions. I, like everybody else, have been desperate for us to win this title. But the evidence that they weren't going to win it for me was there months ago. So I don't take any joy in being right. I'd rather I was wrong, Laurie, and people said to me, you see, Jordan, you didn't believe, you doubted us, now we're champions. I'd have much preferred that. It's been a disappointing season. And to your question, what is success? I think we've got to be very clear that success is lifting a trophy, right? For where Arsenal are, success is lifting a major trophy. Yeah. For other clubs, the metric is different. Success for Ipswich is staying in the league. Success for Brighton is getting into Europe. Success for Newcastle is getting the Champions League. So success, it doesn't have to necessarily solely be lifting trophies. But where you're Arsenal, you're now in a bracket whereby success, to be successful, that is lifting silverware. However, I'd like to use a different words in terms of encapsulating an answer to your question, which is achievement. So success and achievements are two different things. Success is a trophy for us, but an achievement, and the rest of the season, we can still achieve things this season. I'm not one of those people that's like binary. If you don't lift the trophy, you're trash. You're a failure. Get out of here. There's no Premier League coming our way, and I'd be very surprised if a Champions League comes our way as well. But an achievement could be going further in Europe. That's all we got to play for now, right? In terms of trophies and competitions. Try and win it, obviously, of course. We fight on, show some respect for yourselves. But for me, Arsenal's record in Europe is horrific, Laurie. It's horrific. So for me, an achievement would be going deep into Europe. Some people may say, oh, if you're not winning it, that's failure. Fair enough. That's your metric. My metric would be progression. That would be an achievement, not success, but an achievement. And then just to kind of wrap as well, other forms of achievements would be, we're not very good to watch right now. The football ain't great. Yeah. So between now and May, can we actually go back to, if we're going to finish second, then so be it. But can we go back to at least entertaining the people then? People pay a lot of money to go to the Arsenal. Can we entertain them? Can we score some goals? Can we have some patterns of play? Can we keep some clean sheets? That for me would be an achievement. Pushing Liverpool as far as we can, that would be an achievement. You will finish second, but second finishing 5 points behind is very, very different to finishing second and 11 points behind. So these things are not successes, but they are achievements in my opinion.
Yep, I hear that. I mean, in talking about the Champions League that you referenced, yes, we've got, I would say, a winnable tie against PSV. I mean, listen, I'm certainly not going to sit here and wax lyrical about our chances in the Champions League because we've got to overcome PSV, which is not going to be easy. But then, of course, we know that if we do beat PSV in the next round, we've either got Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. Both of those two teams would be favoured to beat Arsenal, let's face it. So, you know, if we get through PSV, right, which we kind of will be slight favourites, I would imagine, do you think we can overcome Real Madrid or Atletico? Is there any way you can see that happening?
No, because first of all, it's 2 legs. So you have to have 2 good results, not necessarily 2 wins, but 2 good results against them. I don't see that. And the main reason I don't see that is because, one, you're up against a team that has significantly more European pedigree and know-how than Arsenal. And in the case of Real, for sure, and maybe even Atletico, you've got 2 teams that, in terms of quality, I'm preempting who will be back by the time we should be get to that stage. I think the level of quality in those teams, Real for sure, is far superior than what we have. So even if you put the Flirter back in our team, even if Saka's back in our team, what kind of fitness will they be at? What kind of form will they have? You know, we're not going to have a striker. We haven't between now and May, we have no striker. Do you put the Flirter through the middle? No. Trossard through the middle? We know it doesn't work. Do you put Saka, Ranieri as a force? So we haven't got a striker. So I just don't see, you know, I'm uncomfortable even, and I know you're not doing this, but I'm comfortable dismissing PSV and skipping to the glamour type because right about now, we can't score past West Ham. So PSV
we've not scored in our last 2 games. In fact, yesterday, of our last 4 games, there's only 1 game where we scored.
And we're low on shots as well.
Yeah.
And we're low on shots as well. So, you know, but to answer your question, if we are to jump ahead to that possible tie, no, I don't.
So if you don't give us any chance of beating Atletico and Real, which, listen, I hear you, we would definitely not be favourites in that tie. That means we would have got as far as what, the last 8?
That'll be the last 8.
Would you think that represents success in the Champions League?
We've done that before. Yeah. I think we got beaten the last 8 last year. Bayern, was that last 8?
Yeah.
I think that was last 8. So even in recent years, that's not an upgrade. For me, it's got to be a semi. Because if you get to a semi, last 4 for Arsenal, I know we've been to a final once, but that is uncharted territory for Arsenal Football Club to get to the last 4 of the Champions League. But secondly, to your question, it would mean we'd have beaten a top team. We'd have beaten Real Madrid or Atleti. Do you know what I mean? So last 8, no, that's not good.
If we go out in the last 8, so that's no Champions League success. Domestic cups we're out of. Premier League, like, we don't know how that's going to go yet, but you know, it could be that we finish the season some way behind Liverpool. So I think what you're saying in reality, Jordan, is that this season has been a bit of a disappointment, to say the least. Just before you answer that, I've got a super chat here I need to read out. It's from Don Tony Poulis. He says, big up Uncle Laurie and Uncle Jordan. Does Arteta get one more season?
Let's hang on. Let's to the uncle, brother. Let's to the. I'm not in uncle territory just yet. Just yet. I'm far off.
I'm definitely uncle territory. I don't mind, man.
I joke me around. I joke me. I tell.
Embrace it. I got to embrace it. But yeah, you're not quite at uncle stage yet. But hey, yeah, he says, should Arteta get one more season, or should he get a tenure as long as Wenger? Now, I doubt if he's going to get a tenure as long as Wenger did, but I think you get the drift. What are you saying? Do you think?
Neither. Big up, Don Tony Pulis. I really this whole he's got one more year, or this it's been 5 years. This whole framing of a period of time before he has to go, for me, is it's a bizarre kind of position to take, because I don't look at it as Arteta's got 1 more year or 5 more years or 2 more years. I look at it as, for me, Laurie, this is my metric. I'm backing Mikel Arteta as long as 2 things are still happening. First of all, I believe the manager has the answers to the questions. If I believe my manager still has the answers to solve the questions, which are, can you win a Premier League title? Can you win a Champions League title? Then I'm happy for you to stay. The minute I feel my manager, nah, he ain't got the answers. I believe Arteta can win a Premier League with Arsenal. I believe that, right? Whether he does or doesn't, I don't know. But first metric, so with Wenger, for example, I backed him for quite a long time. But 2012, I got to the point where I was like, I don't believe you have the answers anymore. I believe you don't know what to do. You're lost. You've hit your buffer. And the second metric, and I get a lot of flack for this, is football, style of play. The minute the football starts going down the toilet and I'm not enjoying what I'm watching, that for me is a second metric of which you have to go. As long as I believe you can still win a trophy, and I believe that you can still be the guy, and I believe the football is still entertaining, those are 2 metrics. So that could, I don't really look at it as a year or 2 years left, or I don't really kind of get involved in this kind of 1 more year left, he's got to win a trophy, or he's got to go conversations, because it removes from me all context and it's all emotion. It's all emotion driven.
I guess for me, it's pretty simple, really. I'll wait till the end of the season and appraise from there what I've seen. That's what I would do. I mean, like I said, the season still has 11 games to go. The Premier League season has 11 games to go. Got a minimum of 2 Champions League games. So there's still some football to be played here. I think it's kind of premature for people to be saying, or calling the manager's job into question yet. Because, listen, if we completely implode, and like you said, Jordan, he's lost the confidence of the fans, the players, the club, the style of football's down the pan, and you're seeing protests out there inside the Emirates every week, then obviously it would be time for him to move on. However, if we finish the season and we finished it as well as we can, not going to win every single game, obviously, but I'm talking if we finish the season well, we put up some good performances in the Champions League, despite if we go out to Real. I mean, say we're playing over Real Atleti and we push those guys to the point where we say, listen, okay, we didn't quite get it over the line, but, you could see that we showed enough there on another given day without the injuries. You never know. I think it's like that. I'll be happy to retain faith in the manager. But I don't think we can really say realistically yet whether he should go or not. That's where I stand.
All the people, so I know you've got to move forward, but all the people, Laurie, that say he's got to go into the season, a trophy or nothing. Like, I hear that, right? So fine, that's your opinion. Everyone's allowed their opinion. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because you're saying you want him out come the end of the season. Where I have an issue is the rationale behind it. The rationale behind it never makes sense to me. It's all emotion driven. It's all, and that's fine. But I don't want to engage in you're asking for him to lose his job based off emotion. It's emotion. So for me, that's not I can't entertain that conversation if you're just emotional and sack him, get him out. It's like let's have it. Maybe he should go.
Football's a passionate game, Jordan.
No, I get that, but Laurie,
emotional to a point.
No, we are Laurie. I hear that, but you know what it is? I think the bar for sacking of managers across the board, I'm talking here, across football, is low. I think the bar is so low. I think football fans want the manager sacked for things that I'm like, I'm not quite sure. But we're talking about sacking a man and losing his job. Losing his job. For me, my bar is higher than just a bad run or even a bad season. And I just think people just react. And they're the same people, Laurie, that if we beat Real Madrid in the next round, the following round, they'll be the same people. Oh yeah, my manager, best guy yet. So your response is just so It's like, come on, man, just think about it.
I think if we're being realistic, it's very, very unlikely that the manager's going to lose his job. I mean, he only signed
he won't
extension in September.
he won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm responding to the point about fans wanting him to go.
Yeah,
there are fans that want him to go. That's fine. That's an opinion that's valid. But just give me some reasons rather than just, oh, he's rubbish. What does that mean? I can't engage in that. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Another super chat here I need to read out. It's from Sue. She says, big up Laurie and 5th best member of Forever Arsenal, Jordan. The internet report today, love for the love. I think there's some shade in that, isn't it?
That's cheeky. But big up you.
No, but you know as well, to go back to something that you mentioned earlier, I wanted to take you up on as well. The style of play. Let's talk about that for a couple of minutes because a lot of people now, and I'm seeing not just fans, pundits, so-called experts, a lot of people talking about Arsenal's style of football. They're saying about the whole possession-based football. Is it dying a death? I'm even hearing people the likes of Gary Neville saying that, you know what I mean, maybe the day and age of the possession-based football and the build-up, pass, tiki-taka stuff, that's gone now. And clubs are going to have to come up with something a bit different. I mean, most of Arsenal's games, I think it's fair to say that we enjoy the majority of the possession. If you look at the possession stats, that bears that out. Also, if you look at the amount of chances created, however, as we said just a second ago, Jordan, we're struggling to score goals. So what would you like to see change in that regard, if at all?
Well, I think we have to remember, first of all, he's not got his full complement of attackers. That's the first thing, right? But second of all, to be fair, even when he had everybody fit, the football wasn't brilliant. Even when we had Saka, and the football's not been good this year. So it's a fair critique, in my opinion. I think he will change because I think he will realize that he has to change. The football's not working. It's just not working. A, because the style of football has been found out, or B, he needs better players to implement it. So he needs to either change the personnel and keep the tactic, or change the tactic. I've got a feeling both might happen.
My very quick answer to that, and listen, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do think at this point is that a lot of teams are in Arsenal's position because it's almost like Forest did it as well last night. West Ham definitely did it. They basically say, look, have the ball. You know what I mean? We will set up 2 banks of 4. You know, we will defend. We've got a structure. It's up to you to bypass that. It's not easy to do that, especially when you've got a team intent on defending. No. The onus is obviously on Arsenal to try and break that down. But, you know what I mean? It is a very difficult thing to do. Now, in order to circumvent the low block, there are certain things teams should do, and Arsenal haven't always done that. So for a couple of quick ones, the tempo has to be quicker. The tempo of the passing, you need quick ball. So in order to, you know, you move the ball quicker, so you're moving the opposition around, then little gaps open up. And if you put the right pass through, you could put people in. That's one. Secondly, you can take more shots from outside the box, which is something that Arsenal do not do enough of. I mean, yesterday, I think it was only Ifeanyi Nyeri that was even attempting to shoot from outside. Him and Calafiori, by the way, to shoot. Far too many times, Arsenal seem obsessed with scoring the perfect goal. So there are things that Arsenal could try that we're not seeing enough of in terms of, I've just given you 2 examples there, but do you think that Arsenal are going to have to take on board these types of things, or are they going to have to come up with something completely different in order to circumvent low blocks?
I think it'll be something different. I think the tactics will be different next season. It's not working, Laurie. It's just not working. But I also feel that the personnel has to change as well. I think you make a good point about there are quite a few teams that play a low block against the bigger teams. But but that's not an excuse. You've got to find a way. And I think when you've been quelled or you've been blunted 1 or 2 times in 1 or 2 games, and you have to take a draw or even a loss, cool, you can take that. We've seen it 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times this season. So that says to me that you haven't got you don't know how to deal with that particular type of opposition. So I think he will change the tactics. I think the personnel will and should change next year as well. I'm chatting about first teamers. I think that there's a cycle of this team needs to be changed in terms of the first 11, because it will be, well, we're hoping now 3 years in a row, second. If you don't do something drastic to kind of just jolt that 11, that team kind of just falls into a bit of a funk, in my opinion. I think to spice it up a little bit, I think you need to change some first teamers. And there's some people in there that I would suggest that might not be very popular with a lot of the Arsenal fan base. But I think if you go into next season with pretty much the same 11 as this, I don't think you can expect too much difference. So, for example, the back 5 I think is pretty much set. My back 5, I mean, things change obviously, but my back 5 would be Saliba, Gabriel centre backs. I would have Ben White right back and Lewis Skelly / Timber at left back. Ray in goal. That's the back 5. I would move Partey on. I love Partey. He's one of my top 3 Arsenal players in our squad. I love Thomas Partey. I'd move him on. He feels like he's part of the old, the 5-year process the 5-year process that we were working through. That cycle has come to an end now. It's almost like time to start a new cycle. I'd move Partey on. I would put Rice in the 6. Let's stop messing around with Declan Rice. Put him in the 6. He's best in the 6. And this might be a bit controversial, but I would look to upgrade on Odegaard. And that's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. And I know he's the captain. And I don't think they will upgrade on him. But if I was in charge, I would upgrade on Odegaard, because I feel the midfield needs something different. And Odegaard is technically one of the best players in the league, let alone our squad. But I just don't feel he does the 8 or the 10 role amazingly well. He's not a goal creator, but equally, we've not seen him in the 8 enough to know that he can do that role either. And I think it's a big summer for Arsenal, because you're going into the summer now, Laurie, where you've got your best 3 players, Saliba, Saka, and who else on 2 more years? I think it's Martinelli, 2 more years. Not best 3, but Martinelli, one of your main players on a contract with 2 years to go. This is the summer where clubs normally are told you have to renegotiate or sell. If you go into the following year, they've got 1 more year left. As Arsenal fans, we've seen how this film ends. To get them to re-sign this summer, if I'm Saliba, if I'm Saka, I'm saying, boy, cool. I want to stay. I want to stay. But what are we saying? Who's coming in? I want to win Prems.
Yeah.
I want to win Champions Leagues. So this summer's important. And then finally, in the front line, the flirter, Martinelli, bench. He would be in a squad. I'd make him a squad player for now. So I would bring in a top-level winger. I would Havertz, bench, squad man. Keep him in the squad. I'd bring in a centre forward, and then you bring back in Bukayo Saka. So there's 3 spots already in our 11. Never mind the squad that I would make changes in, because I think that would just jerk a man a little bit, just freshen things up a little bit for what I think is a new cycle we're going into.
You've not mentioned a striker yet, there, though. So what would you do for a striker?
So here we go. Just cards on the table. I think the best centre forward in world football is Isak. I know people will say Haaland. I know Mbappe plays for the middle sometimes. I think the most rounded centre forward in world football is Isak. I love him. He's the most complete forward. Can score off both feet, a threat in the air, can dribble, can hold the ball up, can run in behind, different types of finishes. If you believe in being Prem proven and all that, he's Prem proven. Isak's the best centre forward in the world. I just don't think Arsenal will spend the 120 plus needed to get him in. So I've mentally forgotten about Isak. So then we come to a position, Laurie, whereby I don't think a lot of teams are going to be spending big money on a single player, I think that'll be rare now. So the days of 90, 100 million, I think this PSR, all these things got people shook. So the fan base, in my opinion, are going to have to accept a player of Ollie Watkins level, right? A kind of 60 million pound striker. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think we need this superstar 200 million pound striker to win the league. If Ollie Watkins was in our team, that's good enough for us. And there are players that people will turn their nose up that I think would improve our front line that won't even cost 60 mil. So in terms of centre forwards, my dream would be Isak, but I just don't see it happening.
Would he take Sesko? Because he seems to be the one.
I'm not a massive Sesko fan. No, I mean, I don't know a lot about him, but from what I've seen of him, not for me. I'm not bowled over.
Yeah, the reason why I mention him is because he's often been linked with a club. I mean, he was linked.
I think it'll be him. I think it will be him. Yeah. I think it will be him. And, but
I think he's got like 17 goals this season, which is a good return.
That's decent. That's decent. Yeah. He looks good, but he wouldn't be. If I was to have a list, Laurie, he wouldn't be in my top 5.
What about Jokerit?
Yeah, looks good. Looks good.
If you go for goal scoring, he's like in the Haaland mode, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm powerful centre forward that scores goals.
He does. Again, I'm not blown away by Jokerit, but again, if we signed him, I wouldn't be pissed. But I wouldn't be. But he's not on my top 3 list. He's not someone that I'm like, yeah, go and get them. If we got him, cool. I don't think there was going to be a massive amount of a budget to spend this year.
Well, this is what I was going to come on to. I mean, you've made some very plausible suggestions there, and I'm with it, especially the Isak one.
Yeah, but I don't think you even need Isak.
Bringing in somebody for Odegaard, all these things are going to cost money.
They will.
My question to you is, do you honestly think the board, given their track record, are going to back Arteta to that level? I mean, to be fair, they have spent quite a bit of money. We're hearing 750 million, 31 players brought in.
Yeah, but the thing is, that stat is misleading. So people always say, oh, we spent 800 mil, we spent 800 mil, 800 mil. And yeah, he has spent 800 mil. But people are going on like he spent 800 mil as a title contending team. A lot of that money was to get us out the mud. Look at what Man City spent in their kind of years on the come up. They spent a lot of money. Yeah. So the 800 mil was to get us Europe, Champions League, and title contending. So it's a bit, when people say we spent 800 mil, that's factual, but it doesn't take into account that we have to spend money to get to the top party. Yeah, I know you say you used to be a Raven man. Yeah, you pull up to a club, right? And then the doorman says to you, or you said, doorman, what's it saying? He said, yeah, it's good in there. How much to get in? He said, oh, it's, I don't know, £30. Cool, £30. All right, £30.
What clubs are you going to?
I don't know. Back in the day. He says £30. All right, but I want a table. Oh, if you want a table, cool. We can do that, but that's a grand. Yeah. You know what I mean? So to get in the club, you spend a little money, cool. But if you want to be in that top table with the gallum and the man them are hanging out and the big champagne, you got to spend proper money. That's the big table. So to be at the big table, we spent a lot of money just to get there. So I just wanted to make the point that when people say 800 million spent, that doesn't factor in the 5 years. 800 million in 5 years to go from 8th to title challenging is actually quite cheap. Now, has he brought the right players in? Different question.
Liverpool haven't spent amazing amounts of money. What do you say to that?
Right. So what Liverpool have done is they were very smart. They first of all they spent the Coutinho money on two dons in Van Dijk, in Alisson. So they were very fortunate in that they got a player that they got a massive fee for. I mean, I rated Coutinho, but 140 million. Are you mad? He's probably worth half that. So they were laughing. So they were in a position whereby they had an asset they could sell and reinvest. And the second reason Liverpool were able to achieve what they did over the last 5 years without blowing the bank is they had a freak of a manager. They had a manager that could turn B-list players into A-list players and C-list players into B-list players. They had a manager that was just great. They didn't have to spend big money because they had Klopp that could turn Salah from a brilliant player into Salah we see right now. Sadio Mane into a brilliant Premier League winger, into one of the best wingers in the world. Robertson into a relegated left back, into one of the best left backs in the country. When you've got a guy that can churn that sort of value out of players, you haven't got to spend. If they bought Robertson at his prime, that's a £50 million left back. He was 7 million.
I guess my answer to you on that is: do you see Arteta as being capable of doing the types of things that you've just said? That
no, so they have to back him with money.
Why would you want to?
No. Well, there's two ways of winning things, right? You either back your manager with big money, but you believe that he's good enough with the big money to spend it and achieve, or you get in a guy that's a one-off, like a Klopp, who's a bit of a freak, as I mentioned, that you don't have to spend lots of money back in because you know that he will get the job done. You're almost investing in the manager. If I'm Klopp, I'm saying, don't give me 200 mil. No. Give me 15 mil and I will make these players here become bad boy players. Invest in me. You don't need to spend 80 mil on a striker. I'm the guy that's going to make things that will make gold. So I believe Arteta, with the right backing again, I reckon he can go for a title. Whether he does it or not,
well, it's not going to happen this year. Just quickly, another super chat here from MK Gunner 24. Thanks for the super chat. He says, we need 6 wins from the last 11 to get top 5. We have 3 of the top 5 in those games, so need to win those 2 really. That would be a success, as I don't see it. That's an interesting super chat. Thanks for that. 6 wins from the last 11. That sounds doable. But then he says 3 of those in the top 5. So we need to win those games.
To do what? Sorry?
To get in the top 5, which I think the Champions League, if the coefficients work the way we think they're going to work, the Premier League will get 5.
Yeah, I think it will be 5. But come on, we shouldn't be doing maths to work out what guarantees top 5. I mean, I've lowered the bar a little bit, but I've lowered the bar a little bit, Laurie. But come on, man, that's a shocker. No.
Well, this goes back to the whole issue that we're talking about now. With the title gone, what represents success? I mean, it's interesting that I was having a conversation with somebody this morning, and we were talking about second place and what that means. And I think we both agreed, I'll be interested to hear your opinion, Jordan, that second place there's 2 types of second place. There's what I call the Usain Bolt syndrome second place, which is what applied to Arsenal before. So in other words, when you've got a clear, outstanding, dominant champion that wins, sometimes second place, you push them as much as you can. It's no real shame in that, because you're thinking to yourself, well, Man City are a once-in-a-lifetime team. They are that good that to finish runner-up to them, especially pushing them to the last game of the season, is quite an achievement. That's commendable. Then you have the type of second place that is likely to happen to us this season, whereby obviously Man City have slipped away. Liverpool are now the team who look like they're going to win the title. However, they're no Man City. I think everyone would agree with that. And it would appear to all intents and purposes that if we do finish second, Jordan, we're going to be some distance behind Liverpool counting the end of the season. So for many people, that does not represent anything like success. What do you say to that?
Well, success can't be achieved this season other than the Champions League win. So as I said at the start of the stream, the only way we can achieve success... The only way we can achieve success... Sorry, let me turn my thing down. The only way we can achieve success is by winning a trophy. So I want it to be... That's the only way. Success is very binary for Arsenal. It's lifting trophies. That is success. But that doesn't mean the season between now and May, there can't be small wins. Otherwise we just pack up and wait until next year. There can still be small wins. To your point, if we can push Liverpool and make that lead, if we finish second, make it second and look respectable. Some don't care about that. Some just see second, third, fourth, 1 point behind, 10 points behind. It's a loss. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't. I think there's a difference between finishing 5 points behind and 11 points behind. So for me, the success can't be achieved other than winning the Champions League. I don't foresee that. But there can be some small wins between now and May.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, last season we pushed City right to the last game of the season. So to finish second to a Man City that, let's face it, were an exceptionally good side. is an achievement in my view. I get when people say, look, you know, but you still didn't win. Yes, yeah, that's fine. However, you can't argue with what Arsenal did this year. I think where people have an issue with it is that people were saying that if Man City slip up, we would be the ones to, you know what I mean, capitalize on that. And that's not going to happen, unfortunately.
I want to also debunk this kind of this things going around, largely from rival fans, but even some Arsenal fans are saying it, which is that, finishing behind Liverpool and Slot in his first season is an embarrassment. Embarrassment. It's not an embarrassment because people are acting like, because people say, oh yeah, if City weren't going to win it, it had to be you. And Liverpool have come in your back door, stolen your hi-fi and your DVD. Wow, hi-fi and DVD. Stolen your laptop. What year are we in? Stolen your laptop and your plasma and your tablet and all your goods and walked out. I'm like, people are talking like Liverpool are some like little team. People are acting like West Ham are top or Palace are top or Wolves are top. That would be embarrassing. Liverpool, apart from the last 5 weeks of the season, were top of the league.
Yeah.
They had a Premier League winning team ready to go. Yeah, so this idea that Liverpool winning the title was embarrassing for Arsenal is a myth. And with Slot, people always say, oh, it's his first season. But we're clearly seeing that he's a good manager. If Sam Allardyce came in or Mark Hughes came in and won the league with Liverpool, I'd be pissed. That is embarrassing. But Slot is clearly a good manager. So why is it embarrassing? I'm not embarrassed by it. Liverpool are a good team.
I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, but I think some fans would be entitled to ask the question. We were right there at the end of last season. Like I said, we pushed them to the last game, right? Arne Slot's taken over a team. He said he was going to change the playing style. A lot of people was thinking along the lines, it's going to take him a while for his methods to take effect. You know, whereas we were up and running, Jordan. So I can understand why there is that level of disappointment amongst some Arsenal.
I get it, but I don't think we as Arsenal fans should be buying into this. I get why other fans are saying it. I get why rival fans are saying, oh, it's embarrassing. I get it. It's banter. We've got to hold it. But when I hear Arsenal fans saying it's embarrassing that we finished second behind Liverpool, I'm like, it's not embarrassing. It's not acceptable, but it's not embarrassing. Liverpool have got 3 or 4 world-class players in their team. Yeah. They won a Premier League, 3 years ago? 2 Champions Leagues in the last 6 years. This is not some little team that just crept up on us and surpassed us. This is a top team that have been there and done it in recent times. So I just wanted to kind of just put that.
I think the other thing I would add to that, though, and this is where I'm coming from, right? So everything you just said there, I do agree with. However, and I think that this is a point that does need to be made. So at the end of last season, we did a gallant job. We finished second, pushed City to the last game. No one really had any complaints for that. But already you're looking forward to the next season, which is this season, yeah? A lot of people, myself included, were saying, what is the one thing that Arsenal need to do in order to really reinforce their claim on the title in the following season? Everybody said, bring in a striker. Because although Havertz, I think he scored 13 goals. I know you're an admirer of his. He'd done quite well. Deep down, we all knew he's not that gunman striker that you need to win titles. Most teams that win titles do have that, right? So we was all thinking, yeah, bring in a striker, and that should be able to go a long way towards achieving our aims, which is to, if not win the title, win a couple of trophies or win a trophy. So you can imagine our surprise and disappointment when no one was brought in. And also when you had the manager making statements to the ilk of, well, I'm happy with the team. I like working with a smaller squad. I'm confident in what we have, right? Obviously, that has come back to bite him because we didn't sign anyone in the summer, which I thought was a big faux pas. That was compounded by what we saw in January when we had an awful window. Didn't bring anybody in then. Could have even brought in a guy that you referenced earlier in the show, Ollie Watkins. Neglected to do that. And now here we are, we find ourselves injury-ridden, several players out with, hamstring injuries and whatever else. Well behind Liverpool in the table and seemingly not going to win anything this season. So you're right about what you say about Liverpool. Yes, there weren't no Mickey Mouse team. We shouldn't be embarrassed the fact that Liverpool were going to go on and win the title. They were kind of there already. But there were certain things that we could have done, Jordan, to, enforce our claim to a title, and we simply didn't do it.
So here's So here's the thing to that. People always say the recruitment's not been good. We should have bought this player. We should have bought that player. We should have got this position covered. My question is this. How do you know the club didn't want to or didn't try?
Well, they didn't do it, Jordan. And
No, they didn't do it. But
look at what happened in January. Okay.
No, I agree. But the energy.
No, hold on. You
Go
want
on,
an example? I'm going to give you one, and I think it's a very good one. So let's take the case, as I said, Ollie Watkins.
Mhm.
So if what we're led to believe is true,
Mhm.
Ollie Watkins would have become available. They'd sold Duran, the business with Duran had done. There was talk that Arsenal were interested in Ollie Watkins. What we're led to believe is that Villa slapped an initial asking price of 60 mil, right?
Mhm.
We're hearing that Arsenal went in with a lowball offer of 40 mil. That was immediately rejected. Now, from what I understand, Jordan, you may be, I mean, I know you're a journalist, you're a broadcaster, you may have your sources that can advise me differently.
Mhm.
I don't recall Arsenal going back in with a meaningful second offer. It's almost as if they just put that offer there, right? Knowing that it would be rejected. It was almost a face value type of offer that they knew wasn't going to go anywhere. They weren't serious, in other words. And that is an example of why fans like myself are angry at the club, because you've not shown the necessary ambition. Like the club, obviously going along with this narrative that Ollie Watkins, 29, we're not going to pay 60 mil for a guy that doesn't have that much resale value. That is a total business decision. But here's the thing. Do you want to win things or try and win things, or are you just going to run the club along business lines? Because acquiring Ollie Watkins would have been a football decision. Not going in for him and offering more money was a total business decision, and they've allowed the business decisions to override the football decisions, to the detriment, I might add, of Arsenal's season.
But the two are linked. We're looking at Man United and we're seeing the mess that they're in because of 10 years of overspending on players. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be like that, but I think we have to look at the climate of where we are in football. Teams are scared. These PSR rules have got teams shook. So teams are very, very. We've seen a couple teams hold fines and points deductions.
Were Villa scared when they brought in Asensio and Rashford?
But they might, but they might. But this is my point. They might have been in a financial position to be able to do that. I'm saying I don't know this for sure. You could be right. You could be right. But I'm asking. We don't know what position Arsenal were in, and I'm not making excuses for Arsenal. I'm just putting. Everyone seems to have one narrative. Arsenal didn't buy. They've failed. And I'm saying, okay, that could be true. And between me and you, Laurie, and all the viewers watching, I think that probably is true. But that's boring now. How about we look at it from a different perspective? How about we grown-ups and look at it from a different perspective? Let's say the club wanted to make a big boy signing, but the maths weren't mathing. And they wanted to protect themselves as a business to ensure that they could never, ever be in a position where they're financially vulnerable. Now, as football fans, we don't care about that. We want to win trophies and win football games. All we care about is I paid my money. I want to watch my team play and win trophies. I get it. But they can't think like that. So either one of two things is happening here. Either these are money-hungry Americans who are cold in business and all they care about is lining their pockets. Very likely. No love for Arsenal. No love for our success on the pitch. They're just, how much we made? Cool. Run it again. Yeah? Or they do care about Arsenal and they don't want to put us in a position whereby we could potentially in the future be financially vulnerable, whereby you're only 2 or 3 deals away from being in a problem, 2 or 3 deals that go wrong and you don't get top 5 or top 4 Champions League money and you're in a problem. You're in a problem. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying. So I'm making excuses for them. I'm just saying. How about as a fan base, we look at all the possibilities of what could have happened. All I hear is the club didn't spend. They're a disgrace. Maybe. No. Maybe. But how about it might have been? How do we know that right about now the club aren't in the offices trying to do deals for the summer? Or a loan deal. We don't know. We make all these big statements. We come on YouTube, we come on podcasts and make all these big statements based off of what knowledge? What knowledge? It's emotion. It's pure emotion. And I get it.
It's a bit more than emotional because you asked for an example. And
well, it's not facts. No, but even your example is based off of reports. Do you know for a fact that's what happened?
No, I mean, yeah, but
Right. So how do you know
we
that
don't
Arsenal?
know,
How do you
like-
know that Arsenal didn't go? By the way, I think the Watkins saga was a disgrace, because I agree with you. I think, like you do, it was all visceral. It was
Yeah. It's
optic.
a spreadsheet
Yeah,
decision.
I
It's a
agree, but
spreadsheet decision.
what I'm saying is, rather than being angry and going around in circles, what about if they did try to make that deal happen, and for whatever reason, maybe Villa bent over Arsenal and they were like, "Nah, thanks." We just don't know. So I'm always a bit hesitant about blasting the club about transfer deals when I don't have the knowledge of what they have. I don't have the knowledge.
Fine. But what
Do you know what I mean?
that lack of transfer activity has plunged the club into crisis, really. Because you look at yesterday, we're taking on Nottingham Forest. That was the second versus third game, a game that Arsenal had to win. Okay. And we're going into that game, Jordan, with Mikel Merino playing up front, who's the number 8. He's not even having a particularly good season as it was. We're threadbare. We've got nothing. So that business decision not to acquire someone like Ollie Watkins is costing the club dear.
Yeah.
I mean, you offered 40, so that means you were prepared to pay 40, right? So why not go back and say, well, okay, the guy's retail value is not that. How about 50? Can we come to a compromise? I mean, I don't.
And what if Villa said no? What then? What if Villa said no?
What I'm saying is, did we try hard enough to get somebody in?
We
The
don't
sheer
know.
lack of any business suggests that the club didn't do their due diligence. Because, as I said to you, how comes Forest got people in? How come City brought people in?
You know
why?
why?
And we needed players from back in January. In fact,
well,
I'll go further back than that.
I
I'll go
agree.
back to when my friend and your friend Aubameyang left the club. That's when we needed.
I know my brethren that, you know, and your brethren. Don't try. That's your brethren. Don't try. You and Curtis.
Obama blood clot.
I know my friend that.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
Where I agree with you is, I think the failures weren't January. The failures were well before January.
Right, yeah.
I agree with that.
So I'm saying, Jordan, is it's nigh on criminal that we've not acquired strikers. Given, I mean, they were obviously relying on last year's injury record, weren't they? Where we were quite fortuitous with injuries. We didn't really get any. But this season, we have been afflicted by injuries, as have many other clubs, by the way. But the difference is that we have not got any options now. And when we should have brought people in, we didn't. And that's what tends to happen in life, isn't it, Jordan? If you buy a car, right, and you take it to the mechanic and he says, look, Jordan, the car's running well. However, that carburetor, mate, I think you need to sort that out, because you know, it's got a finite amount of time left. And you take the receipt, no, man, I'll be all right. And then you know what's going to happen, innit? One day when you're on that motorway, boom, car gone. And then the words of the mechanic will be ringing in your ear.
You've outlined the actuality of what happened. That's factually what happened. What I'm challenging is why it happened. And the why from the fan base is solely they didn't want anybody. They failed. And I'm saying they might have failed. They did fail, but I'm saying we don't know why. We just don't know. So I'm always a little bit hesitant about blasting the club for not spending X, Y, and Z, because I don't know what's in the budget. I don't know what they got planned for next year. I don't know. I'm a football fan. I want to win now. But I'm just saying to myself, let me mute the noise and the emotion and look at things in a practical and logical way. I want to believe that Arsenal Football Club and the owners and the hierarchy want to win a Premier League. I want to believe that.
Are they showing you that, though?
Well, so if I believe that,
people
I have to believe.
Tell me, show me. That's
I hear that. I hear that. But we have worked really hard behind the scenes as a club to kind of get away from the days of doing deals that didn't serve us. It took us 4 or 5 years to clear the decks of a bag of man on big contracts that weren't very, very good. We're in a position now whereby, you know, apart from Kai Havertz and Jesus, our wage structure is probably about where it should be in terms of per person. That they don't want to get someone in January that they're scared they'll be tied to for the next 5 years on a 250 grand a week contract that after an initial burst of goals dries up. It's the whole thing with Salah right about now. The whole Salah contract thing. That it's all emotion I'm hearing from the fan base. Oh, give him what he wants. Give him what he wants. Give him what he wants. I'm like, What deal do you ever say give the person what they want? Salah is a bad boy, probably a Ballon d'Or winner for next year or this year, whenever it is. But Liverpool have to think about the business. He's banging in goals now. But if we put him on a 3-year deal, he might bang goals next year. But the second and third year, we're going to put him on 400 bags a week to sit on the bench. That's bad business, B. But you did the deal 2 years ago because emotion was telling you he was top scorer, won you a Prem, won you an FA Cup, give him what he wants. So I'm just making the point that as business,
I hear that.
They have to think about everything and look after Arsenal's best interest financially. And I'm being positive for once, and I'm going on the line that that's what they're doing. I have to believe that. Otherwise, it's guys that are just doing a mad thing.
You know what? You've spoken very well about that. I suggest that when your career as a broadcaster is finished, you might want to see that you can get.
But Laurie, and I'm seeing the chat. The chat's killing me. And here's the thing, Laurie. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I'm right. I could be wrong. I laid out 2 options. Either they're just money hungry people and they don't care about the club, or they do care about us, and therefore they're treating us like it's their personal money. Therefore, they can't just spend willy-nilly. I could be wrong.
No, I hear you. But what I would say, though, Jordan, I mean, we're running out of time. But I would like to make this point: is that in any business, whether it be sporting, corporations, private business, whatever, they always say, I've heard this phrase so many times: you have to improve to get better. You can't rest on your laurels.
I agree.
Especially in the world of sport, especially professional football, a league so competitive as the Premier League. If you really are about that life and you want to win things, you have to spend money. You know what I mean? Because
I agree.
You can talk as much tactics and circumventing low blocks as much as you want. You need to have the players in order to carry out the tactics that the manager deploys. So, and I think that Arsenal missed a trick back in the summer. In fact, like I said, we could go as far back as when Aubameyang left the club. The January window was an absolute disaster, and I think we're paying the price for that now. I really do, and I think that it's so bad, Jordan, that I think head should roll. I really do, because I can't for the life of me understand how Arsenal have allowed this situation to get so bad. And you've got to the point now whereby the manager, every press conference he's in, he's getting that getting that force down his neck. He's having to defend the club, and
so he should. I'm not saying the pressure should be on him. I'm not saying we shouldn't be putting, Arteta should be asking. He's the face of the club. So I'm not saying we should be putting pressure on him. He should be asked those questions and he should be accountable. Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm just a little bit bored of hearing the club messed up. The club don't want to spend money. The club don't spend money. I'm like, that might be true.
It was interesting that the manager himself.
It might not be true.
It was interesting that I saw a quote from the manager, and I'm sure you saw it as well, where he expressed disappointment when they'd not brought anybody in. And I thought that was quite an interesting statement coming from the manager. That seemed to suggest to me that he was, to be frank, quite pissed off.
Yeah, of course he was.
They hadn't brought anyone in.
Arteta's a guy that wants to win. He's a football man. He wants to win. So, I remember Turkish made a really good point a few weeks ago about the change in his language and basically that when you get £50 million a year, boy, you might keep your mouth shut as well. You might become a company man too. We all would. But I have to believe that he wants to win, and therefore to win, I have to believe that he's been in good faith told, yo, the money ain't there at the moment, but in the summer.
Well, you might know more than me, but I was told that he was keen to sign Watkins. Did you hear that as well?
I didn't, but I can believe that. Watkins is a good striker, and I know we've got to go soon, but just for what it's worth, everyone's chatting about Gyökeres and Sesko. I'm just going to say it. There are some strikers in the Premier League that in an Arsenal team I think would do a good job. I don't think you have to spend 100 million on a striker to win this Premier League. I think you need a goal scorer in your front line. I don't think your number 9 has to be the guy that gets you the goal. So we'll chat about it near the end of the season, but I think it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation about the realistic options that we can get and even who we should go for.
Yeah, I agree. But to bring it back round, so we've established then that success for Arsenal would be, well, for you anyway, would be winning the Champions League, which a lot of people would say that that's very unlikely to happen. But you never know in football, man. I think we should. No,
I think we know. I think we know, Laurie.
I think we do. But listen, man, it's sport. Sometimes weird things happen in sport. I mean, who would have thought that we'd have lost at home to West Ham last week? I didn't see that coming. Did you? Did you see that coming?
I didn't see it coming, but I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked.
So, yeah. So, in terms of the Premier League, though, so you're saying that finishing, as long as you finish in the Champions League, is acceptable, but it doesn't represent.
No. More than that, top two. Anything from this point in below second, for me, is disastrous. Third, no. And third could happen, by the way. But anything below second, for me, it's small wins. It's small wins now. The small wins are try and make it respectable between yourselves and Liverpool. Try and go further in the Champions League, and let's get our football that we enjoyed watching a year ago.
Given that we're so threadbare in terms, especially in terms of attacking options, do you think that's likely? I mean, there are what?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
11 Premier League games left.
Yeah, no, I
to score goals.
No.
So realistically, where do you think we're going to finish then?
I think we will finish second because apart from City, and even City, I don't know there's a team that can put together a run to catch us. You know, all the teams that are chasing us, they got there's holes. Newcastle, can they win 4 or 5 games in a row? Villa, Chelsea. It's only really City you're thinking they could turn it on. So I think we will finish second. But for me, there is a difference between finishing second, as I said, 5 points behind and 11 points behind.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Yeah, we do owe it to the fans, the club, everybody involved to us finish as high as we possibly can. There are 11 games left. There's some very winnable games in there. There's also some pretty tough games in there. For example, we've got to go to Liverpool.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's not going to be easy, but I do think that we should try as hard as we possibly can to get as many points as we can. But I can't help but feel, though, that this season, a lot that could have been done wasn't done, and we're now paying the price for that. And I hope the lessons of this will be learned by those.
So do I. The club, what the club should be doing is they should be teeing up deals now for the summer. If the club want to move serious next year, if the club want to move serious for next season, they should be doing deals, teeing up deals now, because you can tell players that will be in the European Cup next year, because we will. So that's a selling point that you can offer right now. Get the deals done now, or not the deals done, but at least a bit like Declan Rice. All the work was done between January and March. Apparently, by the time the season finished, the deal was just pretty much to be signed. Get that work done now.
I'd also like to. I think as fans, we can hopefully pressurize the board. I mean, shows like this, online, the comments, what the fans are saying when they're interviewed and stuff like that. Hopefully, that pressure will build on the board and let them know that, listen, man, we're not happy. Because I'll tell you this, Jordan, I'm pretty sure that some of those guys in the boardroom, the Cronkies and 1 or 2 other people, probably thinking that this will be a successful season. If we finish in the Champions League, half-decent Champions League run, the revenue and everything else that brings to the club, they're probably thinking, I don't know what the fans are talking about. It's been a great season for us. I'm sure that's the way they look at it. However, if you're an ambitious club and you really do want to win things, at the end of the day, you've got to invest.
Listen, change has got to happen. They've got to go bold this summer. They've got to, Arsenal can't keep finishing second. That's not good enough. So Arsenal got to make some big moves from now. Not the league's done, but off the pitch, they got to make some moves now. They got to get serious now. Every element has got to be addressed. The medical team, Arteta's coaches, the recruitment, who's going out, whose contract's getting renewed, who's not. That stuff's got to be done now. So by the time they're back from pre-season, hit the ground running. Let's go. Can I read out one message? I just saw a message in the comments that made me laugh. I got a message here from Infamous. It says, I respect that Jordan does actually think for himself and has a reasoning behind his beliefs, but I still disagree.
Well, that's fine, man. We live in a
I love it. Yeah, man. I love that.
No, but seriously, Jordan, that's why it's great to have you on today, because I knew you'd shoot from the hip and you've got your opinions and you're not afraid in the slightest to express it, and I respect that. A couple of super chats before we go. This one, Hitchhiker's Guide to Becoming a Therapist. That's a weird title. But anyway, look, the players and the manager were overachieving, but the Cronkies didn't back the team. 100 million, I think, could have got us the title. I've got another super chat here. I'm just trying to find it. Where is it? I hope I haven't lost it. Yeah, is there anything you want to say in closing, Jordan?
Just that I think there's a fan base. Look, it might get worse this season. Hopefully it won't. I'm not enjoying what I'm watching, but I just think we have to this Arteta out thing for me. I need to hear some more rationale behind it before I can really take a lot of those claims or those requests seriously, because I just think if you're asking for a man to lose his job, I just think it forgets. And if you don't think he's good enough, that's fair enough. That's fine. You're entitled to that view, of course. But just give me some reasons. I need more than and be balanced. You know, think of all the good things he's done for the club as well. Maybe he ain't the guy. Maybe, but
yeah. Couple of super chats here. Lee Sloan says, Jordan, big up. Always listen to what you have to say, whether it's with or against the grain. Always a voice of equality for me, bruv. Never change.
Come on, my bro.
Says, your opinion on who is the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, Jordan?
Oh, I still think it's Alisson, but I think the likes of David Raya and who's the other keeper I liked? It's another one.
Anana?
End the stream, Dave. End the stream. End the stream.
Got another super chat.
You had to ruin it.
Don Tony Pulis says, DVD, Uncle Jordan, what is that? I think you exposed yourself a little bit with that one.
I'm old school. I still watch DVDs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to see if we've got any super chats, because I don't want to deny anybody their opportunity in terms of people who submit super chats. It would appear that that's pretty much it. Listen, Jordan, man, it's been a real pleasure. Somewhat therapeutic talking to you.
Man.
I always love chatting to you about, especially it's interesting whenever things like happen, like what's happening at the moment. I do find chatting to people, like learning people like yourself, is always a good thing, because it forces you to reevaluate your opinions on certain things.
But sorry, just quickly before, you know what it is? I'm not saying that I'm right. I give strong opinions, I give strong views, but I'm not arrogant to think that I'm right. Listen to me. What I'm saying is correct. All I ask for is a fan base to just think for themselves and just ask some more deep, rather than just being reactionary. Like, give it some thought. Think about what's going on. Think about the whole context before just repeating what you hear on Sky Sports or TalkSport or Match. People just repeat what they hear. It's like you've not thought about what you're saying. You're just repeating what my girl said or my man said. Anyway, that's my last point.
Although they might argue that it's informed opinion, Jordan. But anyway, couple of quick super chats. As long as this club is under KFC ownership, we will never win the league. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, I've read that one. Hitchhiker's Guide to Becoming a Therapist says, why didn't AFC go for loan players? Yeah, totally agree. And I do believe that's it. Just want to say, Jordan, thank you so much for coming on. Really
anytime, my bro.
And thanks to everybody out there for watching the show and for supporting AFTV in general. Really do appreciate it. We all do. And please keep it locked and loaded on AFTV. There will be another live show tomorrow. You might be on that one.
Yeah, more of me. You get more of me. So those that like me, sorry, not sorry.
No, man. Listen, if they don't like the opinion, I'm sure they like the fact that you're not afraid to express it. But anyway, thank you so much. And we are out. See you guys soon. Take care.
Your exclusive chance to win 2 VIP hospitality tickets to Arsenal versus Chelsea worth over £1,500 is finally here.
AFTV is teaming up with Raffle, the marketplace for luxury raffles, to give one lucky winner these tickets.
We're talking free food, drinks, great seats, and a day at the Emirates that you'll never forget.
And with only 250 tickets available, your chances of winning are seriously high. Plus, guys, a percentage of every ticket sold goes to a charity to help fight childhood cancer.
It's completely transparent and the checkout is easy. It takes less than 1 minute and you can even use Apple Pay.
So hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to enter a raffle with Raffle.
The competition is UK only and the winner will be announced live on YouTube and Instagram, so grab your tickets right now.
Good luck!